Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Coach Matt, EliteThrowsCoaching.com, coming to you today to introduce the new line of FiberSport Discuses that we're going to be carrying on the Elite Throws Coaching website. So let's get started. We got a lot of stuff to get through. The first thing that I wanted to explain is why we're no longer carrying the Nelco USA line. The best way that I thought to explain this to everybody is to kind of give you this analogy of almost like a car company. So if you think of Acura and Infiniti and Lexus, those are sort of the luxury versions of Honda, Nissan, and Toyota. Well, I always considered Nelco USA to be sort of the luxury version of Nelco. But like a lot of things, a lot of companies change their business models and they change their ideas. And what ended up happening was Nelco basically said, hey, instead of having a bunch of little dealers, a bunch of little guys like me, just carrying the Nelco USA line, let's have some bigger track and field companies that are able to get their name out to a lot more people. So instead of having these teeny tiny little dealers sprinkled throughout the country, let's have like one big dealer. And that stuff happens. And you can get mad about it, and you can say, well, and sulk and get angry and, put them on blast on social media and make them look like the bad guy. Or you can do what happened here, which is create a line of discuses that I think are going to be a little bit better than Nelco USA, which is, they got some big shoes to fill. But I think when I explain this to all of you, you're going to understand and see that they really did a good job. All right, so the head honcho and the mastermind behind all of this is Bruce Caldwell. So if you recognize that name, Bruce has been in the track and field world for many years. I mean, he's very well known in the track and field world, and Bruce was sort of the head honcho of Nelco USA. He was the main guy. He was the head guy for Nelco USA here in the USA. So Bruce was the guy that I got all of my discus orders, went through Bruce, and Bruce shipped them out to everybody. Bruce was the guy. And Bruce owns a company called FiberSport. He is big in the pole vault world as well, and has, fiberglass pole vault poles, carbon fiber pole vault poles, and so his name, FiberSport, the name of his company. So Bruce, when Nelco USA said, hey, we're just going to go through one gigantic dealer and not through all these small dealers, Bruce reached out to me and a few of his other dealers and basically said, how can we make this better? How can we take a discus line like Nelco USA and make it a little bit better, make it a little bit easier for the throwers and the coaches to select the right type of discus for them, get something that fills a little bit of the gaps that was left by Nelco USA, make it a little bit more affordable. Like in a perfect world, how would we do this? And with about 1% input from me and about 99% input from Bruce, again, he was the mastermind behind all of this. That's why it's got his name on here. That's why it's called FiberSport, is because Bruce really was the guy who did all of this. I put in a little bit input here and there, some of the names and some of the different models, but really he was the guy. So Bruce sat down, got this all figured out, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why we think the FiberSport line is going to be just a little bit better than what Nelco USA was. Okay, so the first big challenge in all of this was to create a line of discuses that is going to be the same quality or better quality than Nelco USA. So essentially, to make a discus that is just as durable, if not more durable, a discus that is going to fly a lot better or similar, and make something that is a little bit more affordable. That was the big challenge, and I think we knocked it out of the park with these. What I thought was the biggest challenge was to make this a lot easier for the throwers and the coaches to select the appropriate discus for their athletes. The idea here is that we wanted to make it easier for the throwers and the coaches to select the right discus based on the athletes that they were coaching. Make sure that they are getting the appropriate discus, one that's not going to be too difficult to throw, but one that is also going to fit them better, to be more appropriate for the level that they were at this very moment. The third challenge was to add in more beginner level discuses and to also realize that a lot of the super expensive, super high rim weight, super elite discuses just weren't really necessary for a lot of people. So we had to figure out and say, okay, how do we add some more beginner discuses? And at the same time, how do we get rid of all of those super high-end ones that really only like 1% of the discus throwers in the world are going to use and pay $250, $300 for? Can we make a line that is basically going to be good for the large majority of throwers and available to a large majority of throwers? Is that going to be something that we can do? And as I said, as I explain here to you guys in just a few seconds, these discuses knocked it out of the park. Okay, so the first discus is the Breeze. Now the Breeze, this is the entry-level discus in the FiberSport line. So the Breeze is really for those beginner middle school and high school athletes that are just starting out their throwing journey. The Breeze is a lower rim weight. It's 68% rim weight, and it only comes in a 1 kilogram and a 1.6 kilogram size. So really it is just designed for middle school and high school athletes. It's the perfect discus. It comes in at under $100, and unlike some of the other ones, to keep the cost down, it does not come with a carry case. So all the other ones, except for the Breeze, come with a carry case. It adds a little bit extra to the cost, but you get this cool little carry bag with a zipper on the front, so you can put your discus right inside. It's nice and padded, but the Breeze does not come with it. It keeps the cost down. It's great for beginner throwers. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you're thinking, I don't know if I like discus or not. I don't know if I'm going to stick with track and field. I want to buy a discus to practice, but I don't want to spend a ton of money. The Breeze is the one for you. Okay, the next discus after the Breeze is the Wind. So the Wind discus kind of bridges the gap between the Breeze and some of the higher end models. The Wind is a 73% rim weight, and it's perfect for those athletes, again, the middle school and high school athletes who have been throwing for maybe a year or two. They're starting to get the hang of it. They're starting to throw it really well. They're starting to apply some spin on the rim. Maybe they're throwing, in that kind of 100, 110, 120 foot range. This is going to be the perfect discus for you. So again, it's a little bit higher rim weight, 73% rim weight, and it's really meant for those intermediate high schools. So it only comes in a 1 kilogram and a 1.6 kilogram, but the Wind also comes in a 0.75 kilograms, so 750 gram, which is great for a lot of masters throwers as well. So it's really a nice mid-level, kind of intermediate level for those people that might have been throwing for about a year or so. They're ready to graduate from the Breeze. They're ready to try something that's a little bit more rim weight to see if they can get a little bit more distance out of it. The Wind is going to be perfect. Okay, so after the Breeze and the Wind, you can see there's a theme here with sort of wind conditions here, storm conditions. We have the Twister. So there is the Twister 1, which is this guy right here. Then we've got the Twister 2, which is this guy right here with the black rim. And then there is the Twister 3. So the difference between the Twister 1, the Twister 2, and the Twister 3 is going to be rim weight. So the Twister 1 is going to be the lower rim weight version of the Twister series. Twister 2 is going to be in the middle. Twister 3 is going to be very high end. So the Twister offers a size basically for everybody. There is the 1 kilogram, the 1.5, the 1.6, which is boys high school. Then they have the 1.75, and then the 2 kilo version. Okay, so there's a reason why they offer so many different sizes in the Twister, and because the Twister is really the everyman's discus. You've been throwing it for a couple years. You're applying a good amount of spin onto the rim, and you need a discus that's going to carry you through the end of high school or maybe carry you through the middle of college. You need a good quality discus that's affordable, that has pretty good rim weight, not super high rim weight, but a good discus for a good thrower who has been at this for a couple of years. The Twister 1 is going to be perfect for you. So you're a master's thrower that's been at it for a while and you're dropping down to the 1.5 kilo, this is going to be the one for you. If you are a high school thrower and you've been throwing for a couple of years, the 1 kilo, the 1.6 is going to be perfect for you. If you are a collegiate thrower, say you're a collegiate female and you're throwing somewhere in that 110, 120, 130 foot range, boom, perfect for you. Collegiate male and you're throwing in that 130, 140, 150 foot range, boom, Twister 1, perfect for you. So that's why there's so many different sizes offered. That's why the price is such a nice moderate price. You're not paying hundreds of dollars, 200, 250 bucks for a super good quality discus. The Twister 1 is going to be perfect for you. The Twister 2 jumps it up a little bit. So the Twister 2 is 78% rim weight. The Twister 1 is 75. Now we're at 78% rim weight. So now we're getting into that higher rim weight category. So who's this going to be for? Well, this is only offered in 1 kilogram, 1.6, and 2 kilograms because this really is a more high-end discus. So this is going to be for, the state qualifying, regional qualifying, top level, top percentage of throwers in your state. This is going to be for the guys in high school that are throwing over 150 feet, the girls in high school that are throwing over 130 feet. These are going to be for your collegiate men that are in that 150, 160 range. The Twister 2 is going to be perfect for you. Again, the price point on this is awesome. It's about $10 to $20 cheaper than any other discus out there with the same amount of rim weight. But it also has a lot of cool features in it as well that are fantastic. This has the rim control, which is the way that the plate fits on the rim is going to be different. Anything above a Twister 2 is going to have that rim control feature. And it's going to be super durable. It's going to last you a long time, but also it's going to be a little bit more high end. So you've been throwing for 3 years, you've been throwing for 4 years, you're one of the top throwers in your conference, you're one of the top throwers in your state, or you're one of the top throwers in your region, you're throwing, one of the best on your team, this is going to be for you. You don't want to use something that's a lower rim weight. You've stepped it up over the years. Twister 2 is going to be the perfect discus for you to use. Now, after that, there's a Twister 3, which is even higher rim weight. That is going to be for the elite of the elite. That's going to be for the top collegiate throwers. That's going to be for your state champions. That's going to be for those throwers that really need a high-level discus that's going to add a couple of feet onto their best throws. That is what the Twister 3 is for. And then above that, there's actually one more, which is called the Storm. So the Storm was actually endorsed by Rodney Brown and Whitney Ashley, two of the top throwers here in the U.S. They actually threw Nelco USA for a long time, and they've made the switch over to FiberSport. So Whitney and Rodney both love those discuses. The Storm discus was actually approved for the 2021 Olympics that just happened. It was in the practice rack of the 2021 Olympics. It's a phenomenal high rim weight discus, but it doesn't have a gold rim. It doesn't have a super high 90% rim weight or something crazy like that. What we found out in talking to a lot of high level throwers, even when you watch the Olympics and you watch Olympic trials, you realize that the high level throwers, the best in the world, they're not throwing those super high rim weight discuses, the 90%, the 88%, the gold rim, the super chunky, ultra super spin discuses. They're not being used. And the reason they're not being used is because there's not a lot of forgiveness in them. If it's a bad day, if it's bad weather, if there's a lot of wind, if the thrower's just kind of having an off day, you don't want to go with something like that. You want to stay with something like the Twister 2 and the Twister 3 and the Storm. going crazy with ultra spin, super spin, gold rim, which is kind of brittle and gets dinged up and banged up. Going with those levels of discuses really isn't going to give you a huge advantage over something like the Storm. And we found that after talking to a lot of the high-level throwers, and that's why we don't carry anything crazy high rim weight like that. We're spending $300 on a discus because a lot of the top throwers don't even use them. You look at some of the top throwers in Europe and what they're using. They're not super high rim weight. They're kind of right in the middle. And so we figured, okay, what's the point to sell one or two of those things a year to throwers where it's probably not even going to help them? Why are we going to do that? The other thing that we did is that every single FiberSport discus has the ABS plastic plates. So ABS plastic is like an impact-resistant plastic. It's a lot more durable than just the regular plastic that you see if you buy like a super cheap discus off of Amazon or eBay or wherever. So even the Breeze, even the least expensive model, has ABS plastic side plates. So that just kind of explains a little bit about the FiberSport line, explains a little bit more about why we're no longer carrying Nelco USA. And like I said, I really think that Bruce down at FiberSport knocked this one out of the park. He did such a great job with Nelco USA, but he was able to kind of turn that frown upside down, kind of take a negative and make it a positive by saying, okay, how can we make it even better? How can we +1 this? How can we say, get rid of a lot of the fluff, add in some of the stuff that was needed, and kind of cut out some of the unnecessary stuff that really didn't sell too well and that really wasn't as useful as everybody thought. Let's make a discus that's easy to choose, easy to get your hands on at a really good price, and make it available. So that's what Bruce did. That's why I'm happy to carry these FiberSport line on my website. Guys, go to the website, go check out EliteThrowsCoaching.com. That's where you can buy all of these. They are for sale right now. You can go purchase them right off the website, and they'll arrive to you in just a couple days. All right, so thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this explains why we're no longer carrying the Nelco USA line. And yeah, I'm super excited. As you can probably tell, I'm super pumped to get these on the website and offer them to all of you. I think these are going to really make a big difference in the throwing world. And I think over the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot more FiberSport at your local track meets and at the big regional, state level, national level meets as well. They are that good.